Hey there and welcome to GamePoints episode 120, our weekly little get-together where we talk about recent gaming news. As you can see, I am solo today. David Smith is currently off doing real-world adult things, so I have to talk here to myself and to those watching for about an hour or so, though honestly likely 30 minutes to 20 minutes. These episodes, when I have to handle them on my own, tend to run shorter because you really can't have a conversation with just one person. It's just someone talking to you all. Anyways, if you are joining us live here at Twitch TV/GamePoints, thank you. As always, this is an audience interactive chat, so feel free to type in any questions, comments, and concerns in the box down below, and I'll read them when I can. If you're watching us on YouTube, thanks. Regardless of where you're watching at, like, comment, subscribe, unlike, dislike, whatever those other things are, just give feedback. It's always important to help grow the show. Tonight, as the title down there says, we're going to talk about this Microsoft versus buying EA rumor. We have some possibly disturbing information coming from Overwatch, but maybe not as bad as some of us might think, and a couple other businessy related things, sales figures, etc. Before we get into any of that, I just want to mention that you can always follow the show at GamePoints PC for any unknown interruptions or anything like that, and you can also follow myself on Twitter at CapitalistPig21 if you wish. But let's go ahead and get right into things because I'm starting to babble because I really can't do this show too well on my own. First up on the docket, some rumors happened earlier today about EA, or rather Microsoft possibly buying EA. This all stemmed from a Paragon article, which I'll bring up here, written by Colin Campbell, titled "The Xbox One Has a Serious Exclusive Games Problems." Notice that that title says nothing about the purchase of EA, and I'll get to that a little bit more as we go on. Essentially, this entire article isn't even about Microsoft buying EA. It's about what Microsoft can do to overcome its problem with single-player IPs. It really has none at the moment. It has like Halo and Forza and Gears of War. You have the Sea of Thieves beta going around, Crackdown 3, and State of Decay 2. But of all of those, none of them were really setting the world on fire anymore. Sea of Thieves beta is doing pretty solid, but it's not what I would consider a doorbuster. Crackdown 3 has been delayed multiple times. We still really don't have any idea when it's supposed to be coming out. State of Decay 2, while cool, it's still a small scale title compared to what we're looking at being pumped out by PlayStation. And of course, Gears of War and Halo have both lost luster over the years. They just aren't the big powerhouses that they once were. That is not to say they're not important, but Microsoft is really in a position where they have to grow. And this article is addressing how they can do that. So it goes on and talks about how a lot of analysts more or less agree with the idea of that Microsoft is in a corner and they need to do something big. And they all, for the most part, agree that that what Microsoft excels at doing when they are in a bind is just buying a property. See Minecraft, for example, when Microsoft spent billions of dollars to buy the Minecraft IP. Just Mojang just gobbled them right up and made Notch a millionaire. This article says, hey, that's probably how they're going to have to get out of this. And what they end up saying is that likely a merger is, or an acquisition is what's going to be the most likely way of getting out of here. Just gobble up someone's already existing IP. The problem is, they do mention that, yes, Electronic Arts is the most recent name getting tossed about from a reliable source close to Microsoft, according to what this article says. They also mention things like Valve and the newly minted PUBG Corp. These are the guys that are making PUBG, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds now. And it doesn't come out and say that Microsoft is going to be buying EA. But the internet, being the internet, of course, have ran with this idea saying that, oh my God, Microsoft's going to buy EA. There are talks of Microsoft buying EA. Nibel, a Reset Era video game insider, said on his Twitter account, Microsoft eyeballing the purchase of EA. My problem with all of this is it's all just a rumor from one source, just one. Not multiple sources confirmed, not hints of not some CEO or executive saying, hey, we might think this is a good idea. It's just one anonymous source. Admittedly, the article does say it's a reliable source close to Microsoft, but they say close to Microsoft. That likely means they're not part of Microsoft. It could just be some analyst who might have heard whispering somewhere, or some developer, or any number of things. We don't know who this source is. And as such, really shouldn't be treating this as anything more than the rumor it is. And it is not really what I consider a strong rumor. Remember, in this same article, they also suggest that Microsoft was thinking about buying both PlayerUnknown PUBG Corp, and Valve. No. I find both of those just as unlikely as them gobbling up EA. Colin Campbell doesn't do himself any favors by kind of saying, hey, EA is worth a quarter of what Microsoft has just in fluid cash, so they could gobble them up real quick. It kind of helps helps forward this idea that EA could be bought by them, but honestly, this is just a rumor, and I don't think a really substantial one either. This whole article has the feeling of someone reaching out for straws and adding in the idea that they could buy EA mainly to get eyeballs and clicks. I'm not saying he's necessarily malicious on it, but there's definitely some giant leaps of logic you have to make there. And I don't even necessarily blame Colin Campbell. I'm blaming the people who are reading this and just running with that 1 or 2 sentences in here that suggest EA might be the target and running to the hills with it. This probably isn't going to happen. That said, Microsoft does need to make a pretty big move soon. And I think the clock's ticking. I don't think they can wait any time past E3 to make some kind of a big merger announcement that's going to happen. And that's only about, 5 months away? So my gut tells me that if there's a big deal going on, it would be talked about for way more than 5 months. And rumors would start leaking out about now. Now, I know some of you might say, well, this could be the one rumor is. I would say if we're only 5 months away minimum from a deal happening, it would be more than just one source outside of Microsoft. Remember, it says close to Microsoft, not from Microsoft. So if you read between the lines there, I'd say that's an outsider just kind of speculating. And they might have good information, but don't believe everything you hear, guys. While on the, I was going to go somewhere with it, but let's not worry about that. Let's go ahead and talk about some sales figures and the fact that one of the biggest games that came out this year so far is Monster Hunter World. And it apparently, according to one Wall Street Journal analyst in Tokyo, has shipped 5 million copies. Takashi Mochizuki, and I apologize if I butchered your name, is saying it has translated Capcom's earnings report here, saying, or a press release rather, saying that it has shipped more than 5 million copies of Monster Hunter World in just 3 days, and that includes package and digital. Shipping 5 million copies of what is, for the most part, a niche game is impressive, but remember, there is a big difference between shipped and sold through. For those of you who don't know, shipped means that is the number of copies and keys they have sent out to retailers and Microsoft, PlayStation, Microsoft and PlayStation, etc., or Valve if you're Valve for Steam, or any number of things if you're a different release. Sold, however, means that's how many people have bought that game. I know it seems like a very simple thing to differentiate, right? Shipped means shipped out, sold means sold. But people confuse this way more often than you think. That said, I don't want to take anything away from Capcom. Monster Hunter World is by far the most successful Monster Hunter as of yet. I believe it has already eclipsed the sales of all the other games, and it's doing pretty well with a myriad of quality life improvements. It's an exceedingly complex game, but this is the most accessible it has ever been. And I think it's finally found that perfect place to be in, especially with how popular hard games, quote unquote, have become in the past few years. It's kind of getting kicked off with the Dark Souls craze and then moving into things like Cuphead or Darkest Dungeon with a big roguelike reemergence. And congrats. I don't want to take any of that away from you guys, and I really dig in Monster Hunter, so you made a good game, Capcom. Let us know if you've picked up Monster Hunter down in the comments below, and we will see what you guys think about how Monster Hunter World is doing and if you think it's a good game or not. Next story is we're moving on right here. Let's take a look. This one I thought was kind of interesting. It's sad, but there's something to it that I've never seen a game company do before, at least according to my memory. Paragon is closing down, unfortunately. Epic Games is pulling the plug on their weird... I don't even really know how to define what Paragon was. It's not a MOBA. It's not a team shoot. It's not a hero shooter. It just kind of is. But Paragon is going to be closing April 26 in the official blog post right here from the Paragon team. Hey everyone, it's with heavy hearts we've decided to close down Paragon. We truly appreciate everything you've put into Paragon, and we received many passionate ideas for where to take the game. From the outpouring of thoughtful suggestions is another testament to this incredible community. After careful consideration and many difficult internal debates, we feel there isn't a clear path for us to grow Paragon into a MOBA that retains enough players to be sustainable. They call it a MOBA here. It just never really felt like a MOBA to me. We didn't execute well enough to deliver on the promise of Paragon. We have failed you despite the team's incredibly hard work, and we're sorry. Now this part here is where they set themselves apart from a lot of other games that have closed down. To try to make this right, Epic is offering a full refund to every Paragon player for every purchase on any platform. This refund will come directly from Epic rather than your platform provider. To request a refund, follow these steps. I'll put the link down below if you are someone who's affected by this. I don't think I have ever seen a publisher just go, I am giving you back all the money I've ever sunk in this game because we're closing it down. I absolutely could be wrong, and please, if I am, let me know down either in chat over on Twitch or down in the comments on YouTube below. But I think this is an amazingly good move on their part. It's going to earn... People are going to be upset that Paragon's closing, but this immediately earns them a lot of goodwill out the gate. And I also think it's a testament to how well Fortnite is doing, that they are just willing to eat the cost of the entire game. I think Fortnite has been a unexpected runaway success for Epic, and it's showing in the fact that they're just coughing up all kinds of money to make fans happy, essentially. This is a 100% goodwill move. I think that they could have just closed the game down and not given anyone any refunds, and you would have had a couple people pissed, but it wouldn't have made any news that they were upset at it, because games like this close down all the time, and the simple fact of the matter is you're buying cosmetics to a game that requires online servers, and they will shut down one day. Even League of Legends will close one day. I don't know when, but it will happen. And all that money is sunk into it is just gone. And people kind of have accepted that. So to see a studio like Epic step up and just treat their player base right is amazing. They straight up admit, hey, this did not shake out any way we wanted it to. We tried to make it work. It didn't. We're sorry. Here's a bunch of money. Or here's all your money back, rather. Now, I say they do that because of Fortnite, but I'm also willing to believe because of how successful Fortnite has been is the main reason why Paragon is closing down. If Fortnite didn't exist, I would not be surprised if Paragon would still continue after April 26. But because Fortnite is making them so much money, they're devoting all their resources. They're going to be devoting all their resources to it, to expand it, to polish it up, and to make it the best game they can. And you can't fault them for that, but I would not be surprised if it turns out Fortnite is what killed Paragon, not anything Paragon itself did or didn't do. Once again, let us know down in the comments below what you think. Moving on to the next topic here, kind of a big game changer in my opinion. Last week, Microsoft announced a big change to their Game Pass system. For those of you who don't know, Game Pass was kind of like their Netflix, or more apt to say the EA access, that thing where you pay a monthly fee and you get access to some older games. As you can see the little trailer right here, over 100 games. But there's a big change coming to it. Essentially, every single first-party Microsoft game will be put on Xbox Game Pass the day it comes out. That means you sign up for $10 a month and you get to play Sea of Thieves, Crackdown 3, State of Decay 2 the day it comes out. I can't stress how unbelievable that is. It is an amazingly good deal. Microsoft over the past year have been making a ton of quality of life improvements to their console, ranging from backwards compatibility to now this. They are definitely trying to earn back all the goodwill that they squandered when they first announced the Xbox One. I mean, after all, who can forget that disastrous E3 conference when they essentially went Call of Duty, sports, TV, Call of Duty. And then they also said that all their games are going to be hard locked to each console. You wouldn't be able to trade your games back in. It was just a shit show. And it didn't help that Sony then followed up with their amazing conference, undercut them on price, and then had that video of Shuhei Yoshida and I think Adam Boyles talking about game sharing on PlayStation, and they literally just pass a disc back and forth each other. Xbox stumbled hard out this generation, and they never really came back from it, nor will they ever. This is them trying to set the table for the next fight, whatever that might be, when PlayStation 5 and Xbox One X, One, 2, or whatever the hell they're going to call it, comes out. But yeah, this is something I've never seen done. This is them, I think, realizing that this is them looking at the movie industry, right? Amazon and Netflix and Hulu with all their original series, they don't make money on any of those for the most part, as far as I can tell. They make money from getting people to sign up and then not canceling the subscription afterwards. They're loss leaders. They put them out and go, hey, take a look at Bright on Netflix. Maybe not the best example considering how torn up by critics that movie's getting, but we'll go with it. Spend $10, check out Bright, come in and just stick around because you like everything else that you're seeing. That is what Microsoft is trying to do here, I think, because I think they're looking at going, do we sell 5 million copies of Sea of Thieves at $60 a pop, or can we get 10 million people to sign up for a year's worth of Game Pass at $10 a month? It's something that I didn't think will ever happen, but I think is, or didn't would happen. Let me rephrase that. It's something I didn't think would happen this soon. But for a long time, I've been saying games are going to go completely digital, and this is that next step toward it. It's like, hey, don't go to your local store. Just give us $10 directly and play State of Decay 2, Crackdown 3, the day it comes out. And if you like what you see, and if you want to keep playing it, keep subscribing. Give us our $10 a month. Otherwise, thanks for your initial $10, and we'll see you when the next game comes out. Of course, retailers are not necessarily too happy about this. There are reports of I believe, a UK store saying they are boycotting all Microsoft products from this point on, to which I say, bye, Felicia. Honestly, your days are numbered. I like my local GameStop. I worked at a GameStop for a long time. GameStop is going to be dead in 5 years. And there is something sad about that, but much like when we have good memories of going to the video store on Friday night and picking up a new release and maybe a couple of the older stuff to watch them over the weekends, we were a little nostalgic for those when they went away. But honestly, I prefer just to be able to go to my Netflix or Hulu and play whatever I want. This is in that step, and that is where the future is going to be. And GameStop knows it. That's why they're slowly turning away from a video game store more into a hot topic, in my opinion. But let us know what you think about the upcoming digital shift that we're starting to see, and that Microsoft has really kicked off. And they're going to war with retailers over this. I guarantee you. And while that UK independent game store might be public about it, I can promise you that companies like GameStop and, well, EB's owned by GameStop. I think Game would be the equivalent over in the United Kingdom. They're kind of panicking behind closed doors. I'd be very curious to see what their stocks do over the next couple of days with this announcement, especially if more people jump on this, but we'll definitely see. Next story as we're going on here, God of War showed a new trailer. This is, of course, the next series in the God of War franchise. Just simply called God of War, not 2 or 3 or Ascension or anything like that. Affectionately named Dad of War due to his closeness with his son on here. The new one has been announced a while ago, and it finally has a date. The date of April 20th. which you'll see here translated in the runes in a second. Keep in mind that is the same date as both Super Troopers 2 and Nintendo Labo. So if you... I mean, those two things really don't have too much to do with each other. But if you're definitely an independent game publisher or developer and you're thinking that 420 might be kind of a funny, haha, my game is about pot, let's release it on 420 launch date, no. Just push it away. Your sales are not... how much your sales are going to suffer is not worth that joke. So just don't release on that day. But yeah, God of War coming April 20th alongside Nintendo Labo, and like I said, Super Troopers 2, which looks amazing. Before we get into the next topic here, I do want to mention I have heard about these Rainbow Six changes. It's a quickly developing story that's constantly changing a lot. Long story short, Ubisoft came out and said, hey, we're going to be eliminating the starter edition. I believe it was called the starter edition. In addition, there's going to be a limited time event that has loot boxes in it. They really pissed away a lot of the goodwill they built with how Rainbow Six Siege has been working, as well as The Division. Both of these games were games that were kind of rough at launch and have since grown into very entertaining titles. I'm kind of surprised with how well both of these games have done. I wrote them both off as just a bad idea after a couple weeks, and it turns out they really worked hard to improve them, and they have earned a lot of they have fallen to the good graces of gamers until last week when they said, hey, we're essentially going to hike the price on the entry to Rainbow Six Siege, and we're adding loot boxes. Now, as we all know, loot box is kind of the toxic word right now. EA more or less ruined that entire concept for the entire gaming market. Although it's hard to place the entirety of the thought at EA there, I think this has just been something that's been building up for over the past couple years. The palpable anger of gamers over being nickeled and dimed, and when Battlefront 2 came out, that was more or less the straw that broke the camel's back, as opposed to the anvil falling on someone's head. Just people had had enough. It was just EA that ate the shit on that one because it's EA and people hate EA. You would figure Ubisoft would have seen that and not made this move, but apparently they have. They did come out a couple days ago and say, "Hey, we're not going to hike the price on the entry version of the game. I think they're keeping it at 40. I think they originally raised up to 60. I just don't remember, unfortunately." And hey, awesome. There's that. But as far as I know, the loot boxes are staying in there, and that is just not a good thing anymore. You guys have got to find another way to monetize your games because we are wise to loot boxes. People are pissed off, and they are just not going to take it. And it just seems like it's an unforced error, right? It feels like Ubisoft is shooting themselves in the foot. They're cutting their nose to spite their own face. Any other cliche you want to insert here. But what are they really going to gain from this? Are they hoping... Is the bad press and publicity and the alienation of your fan base worth hopefully trying to find a couple whales to make this work? I don't know. I am by no means a business numbers... I don't have their books in front of me. I couldn't tell you if it's going to work or not. I don't know what their logic behind it is. It just seems like a really, really boneheaded decision, especially given the hostility and sensitivity everyone has right now of loot boxes, and including the fact that you have governments starting to step in. Don't forget, we have a UK MP pushing to get loot boxes regulated. I want to say a Hawaiian state senator also got involved a couple weeks ago. I wish I could remember his name. I don't. It just seems like it just seems tone deaf. But anyways, I wanted to make mention of it. I am aware that all this broke yesterday. It's just every time I look at it, the story is slightly different. So I don't have a 100% firm grasp on the issue. I just wanted to mention it real quick for completion's sake. Now, as we move on to the last news story, this one was actually kind of fucking chilling. Over the weekend, Overwatch's director, I believe it is, Jeff Kaplan? I can't pronounce it. I don't remember his last name. In essentially a state of the game video that they made, addressed a bunch of changes they're making to Overwatch. Mercy nerfs, things like that. But he also mentioned something very disturbing. He said that the Overwatch team was going to start seeking out social media sites like YouTube and look for incidents of toxic behavior and then ban people for it. What? To say that people were concerned is putting it slightly, because it sounded like Blizzard was going to take it upon themselves to start browsing through all of your social media feeds, all your Facebook page, your YouTube page, your Twitter, and find anything that you might have posted objectionable. Let's say you share a Pepe meme, or you say Donald Trump should be killed, or anything that could be considered offensive or not politically correct, and ban you from their games. That's at least how people took it. And if that was the case, I would say that is damn near Orwellian at that point. I don't like the idea of a company looking into my personal life and determining you are not a good person, so as such you will not play these games. That is beyond your reach. You're overreaching at that point. Turns out, as the internet usually does, we might have overreacted just a little bit. Let me bring up the... Where is it? Is this it? Here it is. Sid Alpha, a YouTuber who is known for calling out shitty practices from game publishers, tweeted out something along the line. Tweeted out, "I think I should use my announcer voice and more sarcastic." Unable to talk all of a sudden. Sid Alpha essentially is worried that Overwatch banning people for toxic YouTube comments and social media posts is a problem. Overwatch's official Twitter responded, clarifying Jeff's statement, saying, "I think you misunderstood Jeff's comments. We don't target social media comments themselves. We target players who are being toxic in game clips, which are posted to social media sites." Essentially, they're not going to be coming through your Facebook feed. They're going to be looking at those little 30 seconds that you can cut out and put up on YouTube. I'm sure if you go to YouTube right now and type in so-and-so being a dick to players on Overwatch, you will see a bunch of channels pop up of just people griefing players in Overwatch. That is what Blizzard is going to be going after. The jackasses who make a living tormenting people online and just banning them before they even get reports. A little bit of a different situation, right? Blizzard sees a channel devoted to just spamming the May voice lines over and over again and walling your teammates in and just being a general fucking nuisance. They're going to ban you for it. Regardless if they've seen you doing it in-game or not, they're going to ban you for it. This is different than what people were thinking it was going to be, because when it first came out, it sounded like they would just be banning anything they considered toxic, I believe is the exact quote they used. Am I happy with this situation? Well, I don't know. Because here's the thing. They're still going through your social media feeds. They're still looking at your YouTube page. They're still doing research on you to see if you're all right, to see if you're a troublemaker or not. Admittedly, you're showing clips of their games, and they might be able to see that on their end. They might not actually be going through all of your pages. They could be there could be some kind of algorithm that picks up all the clips from various sites and goes, okay, pass, fail, pass, fail. I'm torn on this one. Because I'm fine with Blizzard just banning people, and if they have evidence of you in-game, being a dick to people in-game, cool, get the fucking boot. We don't need you in those games. But conversely, that's not their Facebook page. That's not their YouTube page. There's something distasteful about it in my mind of them going through avenues that aren't part of the game itself, that are outside of the game. I feel like their authority stops at the edge of the game. Once I log out, they should not have any ability to tell me what to have any influence over my life. But I don't know. I know I'm not necessarily making the best of points here, but it just feels wrong, but less wrong than it was before. This is going to be one of those things, kind of like airport security checkpoints. I think that they are absolutely unconstitutional. I think that they are garbage. They do nothing to protect anyone. But I'm not necessarily willing to fight over it. It's just like a minor inconvenience. It's just something that doesn't quite sit right with me, but it's not worth fighting to the death over. So There you go. Overwatch is going to do Overwatch things, and honestly, this is going to affect like maybe 3% of the players on there. Most people aren't even going to notice this is going to happen. That wraps things up for the news this week. Let's go ahead and move on to new releases. Can't do a little ham-fisted transition or lead in because David's not here, so we'll just get right into it. Coming out this week, Dissidia Final Fantasy NT on the PlayStation 4. Bunch of Final Fantasy characters duking it out. I've heard mixed reviews on this one, but if you like Dissidia, you might want to take a look at this one. It is on the consoles this time. Striker's Edge comes out on PlayStation 4 and PC. It is a medieval dodgeball. I mean, that's the best way I can explain it. Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age, comes out to PC later this week. This is the remastered version of Final Fantasy XII. This already came out on the PlayStation 4. This is coming out to Steam as well. Looks cool. I'll probably pick it up later during like a dead time when I don't have a ton of stuff to play through. Tangle Deep comes out on PC as well. This is a 16-bit dungeon crawler, so if you're looking for that kind of thing, you should probably take a look at it. And rounding out the major releases is UFC 3 on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. It's a UFC game. If you like him, you like him. You know exactly what it is. It's kind of like Madden, you know. Madden has its fan base that love the game, and there's people who just look at it and go, this is absolutely not for me. Similar idea with this one right here. Anyways, that is going to wrap things up here on GamePoints. Thank you for watching episode 120. I know this is an unusual format because normally I have a co-host with me, but like I said, David was off doing David things today, and I didn't want to just cancel the show. I'd like to at least get something going on every week. And thanks for hanging out and watching. If you can watch us live, we do stream every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here at twitch.tv/GamePoints. If you can't watch us live, you can watch us over on YouTube. Just type in GamePoints one word, and we should pop right up there. Regardless of where you watch us, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, follow, and all that good stuff. I try to get to you whenever I can. If you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at GamePoints PC, and you can follow myself. I am Stephen Brown at CapitalistPig21 on Twitter as well. But until then, thank you for watching, and we're out of here.